So, from those great topics, we're going to segue seamlessly into talking about how SMBs can cost effectively accelerate their lead to opportunity process. So, I'm assuming that the people in the room are really interested in that SMB bit and also the cost effective bit. So, I'm Wendy Clifford, and this is Ian Bourne, CEO of Cloud 2020. We're a SMB facing Dynamics and Power Platform partner. So we're really pleased to have you here today. Thank you for coming. So with that, we have no clicker. So I will click. That's me. That's Ian, and yes, he loves coffee.
I get it.
Ryan, you best mate.
So we have to say thank you to the sponsors. I'm sure we've gone through this whole process and everything before.
I feel like it's under threat.
Literally,
we have to say thank you to the sponsors.
Otherwise, we're going to die like Squid Game style or something.
Thank you to the sponsors.
It actually says that on the slide there. Do not alter this slide.
Yeah. Exactly.
And let's face it, the little logos are probably more important.
Yeah.
I have to say, these are the people that make going into the exhibition space interesting and fun and productive in terms of swag. So,
Not the big corporate lizard companies that we were talking about.
No, definitely not. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about pipelines, segmentation, tools. We're going to have some examples, and then we're going to offer you some next steps in terms of getting to grips with this maybe a little more closely. We've got 20 minutes and I've already done 2. So we're not going to get through everything that we would like to present to you. So at the end of this, we will talk to you about how we can further, an engagement with you, and maybe go on to registering for a webinar that we're going to run, that kind of stuff. And of course, we'll take your email addresses and spam you forever, because that's what people do. No, we won't. We won't. So, marketing is the new sales. That's what everybody was saying during the pandemic, wasn't it? And I'm sure we've all experienced the fact that marketing seems to have changed quite a lot. And instead of being this kind of fuzzy thing that nobody could really say what it was and what it wasn't, what we believe it is now, really, is it's about building trust. And why would that be? Because people buy from people. You're not going to buy something, no matter how much you want it, from somebody you don't really like and you don't really trust. So marketing enables us, if it's done well, to actually generate that trust, generate that sense of being people that you want to do business with in a really cost-effective way, because you can't get in front of everybody. And we can also then build relationships, and we can think about it in terms of relationships rather than transactions, because when we think about our customers in terms of transactions, we're not authentic, and people consider us to be salesy, and nobody really wants to buy as a result of being pitched or sold to in that way. They want to know that we understand what it is they want to achieve, and we're the people to help them get to that end goal. So I'm actually going to go quite quickly through this, because I'm assuming you know a lot of this stuff. But the kinds of things that you're interested in are actually the kinds of things that Ian's going to talk about, which is how you can make this happen using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, something called SalesSpark, and CRM. Dynamics for sales, obviously. So, one of the things you have to consider, we think, at the starting point is your funnel. Now, this is a lead to opportunity process that we have within our own Dynamics 365. For sales app. And what we do is we consider somebody to be a suspect when we don't know them. And what we're doing at that point is we're capturing contact details, and we're looking to see whether or not we know them already, whether or not somebody else we know knows them, and if there's a kind of summary. So we might have met them maybe here, actually. And in that respect, they will be a suspect until we can engage them in some form of customer activity. So from that, we mean something like, have they clicked on something on the website? Are they showing some interest? Have they filled out a marketing form? If they do that, we can actually move them up to a marketing qualified lead. And at that point, that can then move over into our sales side. They could be the same person in an SMB market, but the fact is that knowing that you're moving people along that process brings a focus to your activity. So you're not scattergunning, you're trying to gain trust, you're trying to work with people so that they will actually engage with you in your marketing activity. And at that point, if you're good at this, surveys, web forms, white papers, that kind of stuff, you might be able to identify the kinds of business challenges that you are going to be able to solve for them. And at that point, they can move into a sales qualified lead, and maybe you're going to use the valuable time of one of your salespeople to actually engage with them to find out about budget, to find all the things that come behind the BANT acronym, which I can't remember right now, because I presented to you. And in fact, what I should have done is say, who knows? And you do, which is great. And at that point, are they in our target market? Because really, what we're looking now for is some kind of chemistry. Are they going to be the kind of people that we want to do business? Are we the kind of people that they want to do business with? So hopefully when we've gone across that, we've moved them then into a proper prospect. There's quite a lot behind the whole, this whole process until you can get to an opportunity. And I think many people, when they get a Dynamics 365 sales app, really quickly slot things into opportunities. Then they spend a lot of very expensive time actually chasing something that didn't properly get fleshed out before you got there. So that's what we say is a good way to work through in your sales app. I like the way it just kind of disappears.
Just to point on that, what you're showing there is not what's out of the box in Dynamics. So you've got the Dynamics, there's that lead to opportunity process. Ours is different. So we're slightly bucking the trend there, but we do really believe that the more you can get the customer to engage, particularly through marketing, through the work that Katie does for us, so that they do as much of their own self-qualification as possible before you actually start investing any time with them, the better, particularly small business where you don't have the time or the energy or the bandwidth to do that. So, you know, that's where we're really coming from. That's why our funnel is slightly different to that out of the box. Sorry.
Thanks, Ian. But I think to further that point, to say within a small business, many people are actually performing many more than one roles. So your time is a premium. The time that you spend with people is expensive. So we use this to try and move out those that we're not going to be able to work with effectively, or that we just don't feel as if we're not a good fit for, or even if we could partner with somebody else to bring the opportunity to fruition, or maybe pass them on to somebody who is better suited, because in the end this is quite a small ecosystem, isn't it? And we all know each other. We're now going to talk about segmentation, and really the whole idea behind this is you want to laser focus in on your target audience. Now, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know already, but hopefully what we are going to show you is some ways to do that that you may not already know about. But behind that is, again, we need to make sure that we're spending our time wisely if we're working within SMBs, and that we're actually really making sure that the right message gets to the right person at the right time as well. So we've developed this kind of roadmap. It's not perfect, and nobody will probably go from number 1 to number 6. Sorry, my eyesight isn't very good with glasses. Sorry, close up. So many people, if they're SMBs, start with things like MailChimp, SurveyMonkey, the free versions of everything. And then we would position something that's called a SalesSpark, actually a step up from that, and it sits within Dynamics 365. We're going to show you that in a moment. We also, there are many ways of using SMS and event-based marketing, so some triggers that are happening there, so you're not being proactive, you're being reactive really. And of course we have to mention social media when we're talking about marketing now. It's a big part of what everybody's doing these days. So you might then move into LinkedIn marketing ads, but really without the segmentation and the focus, you could spend a lot of money doing that with not getting very much back. And then finally, when maybe you've grown your business enough and you've got enough people in-house and enough money in your back pocket, you're looking then at a Dynamics 365 marketing app or click dimensions. So we're we're talking about that journey there, and we're going to show you some things that actually are useful tools along that journey. So that's an example segment. I'm going to hand over to Ian now because this is his example segment, and he's going to talk about how he's worked that through. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Wendy. I know Bishop converted here, but how do we get a small business? How do you punch above your weight? How do you find that time? How do you get that target market? Like I say, we're showing in a minute how we try to get the customers to do most of the work for us, particularly about qualifying people out. Like you guys, I spend an awful lot of time in my day demoing, and halfway through you think, do you know what? These people are never going to buy this. What am I doing? I'm just being polite here now. How do we get off this call? What we're trying to do is to make sure we don't get on the call in the first place unless they are really, really past positives. Now, as Wendy says, very often this is where people stick their toe in the water. And absolutely fine, yeah, I get that, completely get that. Obviously, we think we can't MailChimp, we can drop that straight into Dynamics Sales Pro or Sales Enterprise because they do connect. Absolutely. What we do advocate though is there's no reason why a small business couldn't start here. If you're really up for this and you put the effort in, okay, this might look expensive, but when you start looking at the numbers, in actual fact, it will pay for itself and it will do well. But you've got to put a huge amount of effort in to set it up. The configuration is quite absolutely paramount. So that's not an uncommon journey that we come across, and people bring us in part of the way down that line, and what have you. We try to work out what is best for them. Let's go back to segmentation. Why is this important? Well, because what you don't want to do, the old days of, buying email addresses and just spraying it out there and hoping that something might stick, are gone. GDPR says that shouldn't happen. Do you know these people? Not really. Well, is that right? No, I don't think it is. But also, I was quite early the other day, you don't want somebody to marry you on the first date, do you? So, you've got to build that relationship. We know that when people come to our website, by then they've probably decided they need a business application. They've probably decided what it is, it's probably Microsoft rather than Salesforce or something like that. They're just really looking for the confirmation that we do what they want and that we're the sort of people they want to work with. And at that point, if you haven't done your homework up to that point, you're not going to get any further. You're not even going to speak to these people. So you don't get the chance to have that real engagement with real people talking to real people, which is where the sale goes. So, segmentation is absolutely critical these days. So, and again, so you're not wasting time trying to talk to people that are no good to you, or just bothering people, which is no point. So, the sort of thing, to do this though, you've really got to understand who your target market is. So, who am I trying to speak to? And this is what I try to think, this is for marketing, which Katie with us today, how we get into that type of customer. So, I want to speak to a senior person in the UK, business between 50 and 500 people, is involved in marketing, therefore may have a title. Now we'll come back to this title bit in a minute. And I decided maybe if they're active on LinkedIn, they may be more inclined to engage with me on LinkedIn, if that's the channel I'm trying to talk to them on. And you'll see why I say that in a minute. And then who's active in a particular industry, because I'm not looking for people who are selling marketing, I'm looking for people who do marketing in an industry. So now if this was a vertical for finance, I could say, I could target my words around marketing in the finance sector and get that language in there that might strike some chords. And then all I've got to do then to convert that from finance to insurance is change some language. But the message can be really, really similar. Okay? But the more you can align it to the actual person this persona you're trying to speak to, the more likely you're going to have some success. Now, here's our old friend LinkedIn.
6 minutes, Ian.
6 minutes, right, okay. Okay, 6 minutes. This is our old friend LinkedIn. 700 million people on here, all business people, therefore they are quite happy to hear from other business people. That's the whole bloody point of it, right? And also, LinkedIn has the highest trust rating of social media, bar none, by a country mile. Facebook has some lowest, you may this is this is the so this is the basic search you get from at no cost in LinkedIn. Okay. So you're going to have to decide where people are, what level of connection. Now, if I switch off second and first, I can actually talk directly to people on first who are in LinkedIn. If I switch off first, have second and third, I can try and connect with them and then engage with them and get them to be my best mate, in which case I can then talk to them. You see I've gone for an area, I've gone for a particular keyword and all that kind of good stuff, and I've got down to 509 results. That's okay, that's not bad, not bad, right? But what it's done for me here is put up this guy here, Dean, sure he's a nice guy. He does do marketing, but he's a CEO. I don't actually necessarily want to speak to the CEO, I want to speak to the person who does marketing. And it might not be Dean, because he's a CEO. Okay, fine. Let's have a look at some of the really cool search options on LinkedIn. We have this search up here. Rather than go and click in the boxes or what have you, you can actually create these SQL type searches in LinkedIn. So you get them quite complex. So what I did was I started off and I built them up. The one in for HR, for example, here, I started off by just putting in, I want to see, human, sorry, this is my HR, right, for HR.
Yeah.
Right. So I had some titles in here and I built them up. And I kept going to the search to see if I was getting the type of sort of person I want. I did, but then I was getting coach, consultant. No, I don't want that. So I then put some things that I didn't want to see in there, and I refined it. And I got it really, really focused. Okay. These are some interesting additional fields in LinkedIn that you can have. Things like posted on LinkedIn in the past 30 days. They've posted, they're not just been on there, they've actually put something on there, some content. Now maybe they're the sort of people who will be monitoring LinkedIn. Okay, that's a good one to use. People follow our company, share experiences. These lists, this is Sales Navigator, you can create your own lists. You can then do searches on your own lists. This is searches layered on top of searches, so again, zeroing in, right? I've had things like here, members of the IWFM, I don't know what this means, but they're FM people, right? Trying to sell their asset management tool to them. These are CXO in 5200, we're trying to sell our sales leads points to them. And then you've got some past activity. So this now is where you start to get really laser. Look at all those options there in Sales Navigator, okay? So the one most people use is keywords. Don't touch it. Completely waste of time, unless you're trying to find somebody who's written about a specific topic. That just looks at what people have written about. This is about people, that's what about what people have written about. But the stuff in here about now CRMs, this gets where it starts getting really funky. So, I did a search on here then, built up around marketing, using that criteria, trying to get to this persona, and this is what I got. And actually I'm quite happy with this. I've got some international marketing manager, senior marketing manager, international. Great, this is the sort of person I want to speak to about our marketing options. Now, interesting enough, one shared connection. That lady there. I was saying, welcome to Katie's community. It's the first time we've been in the same room as Katie, and she's worked for us for years, so we're delighted to see her. But behind me down, there's Katie, right? And I've got a team introduction. Great, so what do I do with that now? I click on that button, I go, Katie, any chance you can give me get me in touch with Maxim, because you know him, right? Not only that, look at these other buttons. View in CRM and log in CRM. It's pretty cool. What's that mean? Well, let's go and have a look. What it means, look, I've gone too far. This is Katie's record in our CRM, and you'll notice here that those messages to Katie are actually showing now in her timeline. If Maxim was in there, it would start showing his timeline as well. It's all starting to come together. and more so because Microsoft, as you know, now own LinkedIn, and therefore this is really starting to urge. Now here's Katie's profile in Dynamics, and because we have Sales Navigator as well, we get the LinkedIn member profile and the LinkedIn company profile directly in our Dynamics against lead, opportunity, account and contact. Really powerful for those B2B colleagues, particularly people we were talking to somebody the other day that does big investment deals, and it's all about relationship. It's all about selling through people they know, okay? So in here, there's Katie, these are all the shared connections, and this is how we can, there's the icebreakers, for example, get introduced. So if Katie didn't know this person, but Wendy did, it would tell me. And I could ask Wendy to contact this person for me, okay? Save in Sales Navigator, it all connects. So I take this button here, I can send an in-mail message, which is a LinkedIn tool that you get so many of. I can actually send an in-mail message from Dynamics, but out through LinkedIn, but they will also show a timeline in my Dynamics. So as well as phone calls, appointments, phone, what have you, LinkedIn will show them as well. Okay, going back into Sales Navigator, there's a little button here that says Katie Benson has 40 shared connections with me. If I click that, this is who it shows up. Right at the top, Marie Avery and Kathleen Parker from Microsoft. But this is another way that we can then network together. All about getting to speak to the right people with the right message. Now, right, okay, we're running out of time. To want to Q&A. This is Campaign Manager. This is LinkedIn advertising. Now, exactly to Wendy's point, beware, right? You can spend money here like throwing water down the drain. It is bizarre, but if you get it right, it's very powerful. Again, back to two things. One is segmentation, the other one is targeting. So what we've done here is we've started to create a, we've got some campaigns going, this is our asset management tool, this one here I think is for Springboard sales tool. So in this one here, we created some ads. Now, I haven't got time to go into this, but I've done a couple of sessions around this at user groups, and they're available on YouTube, where I think each one's an hour and a half, showing you this in more depth. But fundamentally, you're creating multiple messages about the same tool, or the same product you're selling, to try and get that right hook for people to open it up. Okay? So what it's doing here is, I say minimum of 4 on any campaign, and then check the results, refine them, see what's working, and so on. The thing about LinkedIn is, because it is a trusted site, that we said before, what it can do is, you can create an advert like this. So here, to Wendy's point, we're offering people a free survey. Okay? So we're not selling some hard and fast, we're offering them a survey. Yeah, sure enough, the survey's going to say, for goodness sake, if you don't buy this tool, you're going to be in deep trouble. But, so far, no hard sell, right? So when they click on the apply now, that's the first click, sorry, second click. First click is a little banner that comes up. And again, if you look at those webinars I've done, there's lots of different type of adverts that have different effects. So one click, into that second click, this comes up, and you can decide what fields you want to have in that form. Because it's LinkedIn, it will fill them in for you, because the assumption is, I'm happy for that link to do that for me. Don't answer too many fields, otherwise it looks like you're mining data. No, you just want to be able to speak to this person. Therefore, first name, last name, company name, and email address. Okay? So now what I do is click that button there. So, advert comes up. Want to manage your assets for £129 a month? Yeah, that's all right. Click. A bit more about it. Click. Another bit. Click. Now when I do 3 clicks, nothing's typed in. Okay? All pre-populated. What happens with that then? Well, obviously what it does then is it comes into your Dynamics 365, doesn't it? That's why we're here. Alright.
It's fun.
We squared the loop. This is where Dynamics LinkedIn connects into Dynamics 365 for marketing. okay? That was right at the end of the line, but that's where it is, okay? Sign in with LinkedIn, it'll sync, associated accounts and what have you. The moment you go into Dynamics 365, of course, you can then kick it off into a customer journey. Then you get an email back saying, thank you, so delighted you're interested in our product. Please find attached the customer voice survey as we discussed. As soon as you complete it, one of our professionals, consultants will speak to you about the result, and away you go. Okay? So I think what we're trying to get across, hang on a minute. Yes, right there. Sales Spark. So there's various journeys going on there, but the key issues there are around segmentation and messaging. This is Sales Spark. Again, scenario, small business like us, okay? It's here, for example, South Coast Summit Conference Meeting Request. All I did was I wanted to ask people that I knew who might be here today, if they're going to be here today, would they hook up for a chat? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to get the whole partnership thing going and stuff like that. It's here that there were 483 activities occurred against that sequence. I'll show that is in a minute. What I mean to it. Oh, we've got 2 minutes.
2 seconds.
Okay. What time is your start? 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Yeah. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
And right, I'm happy to do then. So what this has done is it just sent out a series of emails. There we go, quickly. Here's an email. This is what it looks like. It all fills out. After a period of time, here's the sequence here. After 4 days, it sends out this email. And after 10 days, it sends out this email. And it's completely personalised. The bounces are really good news because that's where cleansing your data. When people have moved on and what have you. Here's another example. But in here, we're actually asking them to arrange a call on Thursday or Friday. It's calculating that for you out of this code here, drag and drop. Notice in here, links to videos. Why? Try and get them to watch the video rather than take our time up doing demos. Okay? So, you notice down here, look at 134 clicks, 24 replies, and look, first email, 2 replies, then 10, then 12. That's a pretty good return rate, but also, you've got to keep talking to people. So only one email is not going to get people to open that email, generally speaking. I've had people about that email apologise for not getting back to me after the first 2. Really sorry, I've got your emails. Yes, I will. I'll see you there. Or, no, I'm not coming. All right. So this is SalesBot. In a nutshell, it's something like $200 a month or something for 4 licenses. But just think about it. That last one was 400 on activities. If they were 20 seconds each, or they were about over 100 minutes. That's 100 minutes, what, hour and a half? Hour and a half of effort doing emails, and I haven't got attention span to do it in the first place. So, really cheap tools, but have a massive impact. That will also do LinkedIn connections as well. Right, I've got to stop now.
You have.
Right.
Yeah, we have to stop. But we've got a webinar where we'll go into this in more detail. So please join us on that date if you're available. It will go up onto YouTube if you're not though. So, and I think Ian, we have to do this. That's our thing. It will all be sent out and all of the rest.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you for the QR code. Thank you very much. That's